Okay, guys, we're going to start the class, okay? Let me first call the attendance. As soon as you hear your name, please answer present, okay? Let's see. Álvarez Orías Genaro. Okay, not here. Let's see. Arce Álave Ángela María.
Present.
Not here. Caicina Acho Mario.
I'm here, teacher.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
I can hear you, teacher.
Okay, I'm gonna repeat. Caicina Acho Mario is here.
Yes.
Okay. Crobo Machicao Mariana.
Present, teacher.
Okay, thank you. What about Medina Salitoris Rubén?
Present, teacher.
Okay, Orías Caldima Cristian Adrián.
Present, teacher.
Obando Pérez Carla. Okay, not here. And finally, Vargas Ramos Amílcar.
Present, teacher.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to start. Today we're going to continue practicing with some listening exercises. We're going to make a simulation of what you're going to encounter in the test. So get ready, okay? So let's see. In the last class, we practiced with conversations, right? And lectures. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, now today we're going to practice with another exercise. Okay, guys? I'm going to share my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
teacher.
Okay. This is the patches that we did on Wednesday. So no problem with this. Now we're going to answer another exercise about a biology class, okay? Let's go to the listening part. Get ready to write notes and then to ask, to answer your questions, okay? So have at hand a piece of paper and a pen.
Part of the talk. In a bot.
Can you hear, guys?
Now listen to part.
Teacher, I'm ready.
Okay. What about the rest?
Yes, teacher, me too.
Okay. Can you hear the recording, guys?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay.
Part of the talk.
What about the rest?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, please listen.
In a biology class.
All right, now a common misconception about global climate change, commonly referred to as global warming, is that if we experience an unusually hot day in this area alone, then it's evidence of climate change. I just want to take a second to make it clear that changes in local weather is a weather-related event, not a climate-related one. Climate refers to the long-term, predictable atmospheric conditions of a specific area, not the conditions of a day or even a week for that matter. Weather refers to the conditions of the atmosphere during a short period of time. Weather forecasts are usually made in 48-hour cycles and are more concerned with daily and hourly predictions. Yes, Henry?
So you're saying that climate has more to do with seasonal changes. For example, like the difference between summer and winter in New York, while weather is more about the conditions outside today or tomorrow.
That's right, Henry. So now that we have established exactly what we mean by climate, let me ask you about the causes of climate change. I mentioned them in the last class. Well, we started by talking about the Industrial Revolution, which began in the early 1800s. And that's when most of society started burning fossil fuels like oil and coal. And those fuels release a bunch of carbon dioxide into the air. And when there's more carbon dioxide in the air, more of the sun's energy gets trapped in the atmosphere. So the climate of the Earth warms. Perfect, Jessica. Maybe I should have you teach the class. So yes, most of us know about the harmful effects of the burning of fossil fuels and the release of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But what causes climate change? There are two more. Henry?
I know one is solar intensity, and the other, I think, has something to do with volcanoes. Sorry, I can't remember exactly.
Well, like you said, the intensity of the sun does change, believe it or not. Changes in the amount of heat from the sun has been proposed as one explanation for past climate events. And the third you're thinking of is volcanic eruptions.
That can change the climate over a period of a few years. But this type of climate change is usually just short term, right?
Right. Now, let's get back to fossil fuels. As Jessica mentioned, increased amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases are usually released through the burning of fossil fuels. Make no mistake, what may sometimes be reported in the media as debatable, there is no debate among scientists as to whether or not climate change is due to human activity. True, the strength of the sun's rays and the eruption of volcanoes can play a role, but there is an overwhelming amount of evidence that human activity, particularly the burning of fossil fuels, is to blame for the rise in global temperatures. And we are now starting to see the tremendous impact global warming is having on our environment. Between 2002 and 2006, Greenland lost almost 200 kilometers worth of glaciers. And as the glaciers melt around the globe, the sea levels rise, which threatens the coastal life of humans and the marine life of aquatic species. Now, many organisms on land are also being affected by the changes in climate. Temperature and rainfall play key roles in determining the geographic distribution of plants and animals. For example, researchers have shown that 385 plant species in England are flowering 5 days sooner than usual. In addition, insect species that pollinate and rely on these flowers are now arriving sooner than in previous decades. This mismatched timing of plants and insects could result in the loss of both species in the area. Small changes in the atmosphere have already made a big impact on species that rely on specific weather conditions. Most think of polar bears and their disappearing homeland of snow and ice. But this is just one of the many organisms threatened by global climate change, and that includes us humans.
Now,
Okay, guys, I hope you understood everything. So now we're going to answer some questions. Okay, guys, I'm gonna share my screen now. Can you see my screen, guys?
Yes,
I
teacher.
can see your screen, teacher.
Okay, thank you for answering. Now, here you can see the questions of that topic, okay? We're going to answer these questions, okay? I'm gonna give you 3 minutes to answer these questions, okay, guys? First, 1 minute and a half to answer 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm gonna give you another 1 minute and a half to answer the rest of the questions, okay, guys? If there is any question, let me know. Are you ready?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, please.
Yep.
If you have any question, any problem, let me know. Okay, guys, time's up. Did you finish with your answers? Guys, can you hear me? Are you there? Were you able to finish? Or you needed more time?
I need more time, please.
Okay, what about the rest? I'm gonna give you 30 extra seconds, okay? Let's start. Okay, guys, time's up. Okay, were you able to finish or not? How many questions were you able to answer? 2. Okay, what about the rest? Is there anybody who could answer all the questions or not?
Not yet, teacher.
Okay, please, guys, consider the time, okay? You only have a limited amount of time to do this task, okay? So consider the time at the moment of doing this exercise when taking the TOEFL test, okay? So, okay, let's move on to the next question then. I'm gonna leave question number 3 and number 4 for you, okay? 1 minute to answer, please. Okay, guys, time's up. Let's move on to the next question, okay?
Okay.
Now there you have questions number 5 and number 6. Please listen carefully, okay? This question involves a recording. Please. What is the professor implying when she says this? Listen carefully, please.
Perfect, Jessica. Maybe I should have you teach the class.
Please answer.
Option A.
Okay, thanks for the answer. After, we are going to share our answers. Okay, thank you for that anyway. Okay. And I'm gonna give you 1 extra minute to answer questions number 5 and number 6. Please, go on. Okay, guys, time's up. Were you able to answer all the questions, guys? Because here we have 6 questions. How many questions were you able to answer? Tell me. I'm gonna ask everybody, okay? Amilcar, how many questions did you answer?
I have 5.
Okay, 5 questions. Christian, what about you?
5, teacher.
Okay, Genaro?
I have 5, but I got here late, so I didn't listen to the audio, so I am only guessing.
Oh, that's too bad. Okay, thank you for telling me, okay? Remind me that you were here, okay? So that I can check your attendance.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go to Mariana. What about you?
I have 5.
Okay, thank you. Mario?
I did 6.
Excellent. And finally, Ruben Medinaceli.
I have 5 answers.
How many, please? Can you repeat?
5, teacher.
5. Okay, what happened, guys? Did you need more time? You couldn't understand the recording? What happened? Tell me. This is just for practice, so you need to tell me.
Just a little bit too hard. Teacher,
Tell me.
it's just a little bit of hard to understand because like so fast when they're speaking.
Okay, that's it. Yes, it is kind of difficult to understand. But if you take notes on what you're listening, I am really sure that you will be able to understand, okay? This is just for practice, so do not worry. But try to make your notes, okay? Try to write your notes. It's really important and it will help you, okay? Understand the recording in a better way so that you can answer these questions, okay, guys? And about the time, really sorry about it, but I am putting pressure on you because time is really important. You have to consider the time, okay? And the faster you answer these questions, it will be the better because you will have extra time for the following exercises, okay, guys? Because here in this simulation, we have 5 recordings. So just imagine how much time you're gonna have for each one.
Sorry,
So,
teacher.
tell me.
Sorry, teacher. May I leave the class? I have an emergency. Sorry.
Okay, do not worry. You can go. Okay, now we're going to continue with another exercise, okay? Please keep your answers on a piece of paper, okay? I'm going to ask you for them later. Let's move on to another passage, okay? So let's see. I hope you're ready, guys. Before we start, please, in this kind of listening section, in this listening section of the test, you will see some keywords before listening to the recording, okay? The keywords here in this section of the test are the following ones, please. Let me see where it is. Okay, passage number 3. Can you see the keywords, guys?
Yes, teacher.
What about the rest? Okay, so the keywords are meteorite falls, meteorite finds, irons, stones, and stony irons. Do you understand? Do you know the meaning of these words, guys? Tell me.
Teacher, I don't know the meaning of irons.
Okay, irons, it's a kind of metal in Spanish. Okay,
Okay, teacher.
stones is
Thank
similar
you.
to rocks, rocas, piedras, maybe in Spanish, and stony irons, a combination of both, una combinación de ambas. Is it clear now?
Yes, teacher, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. What about the rest? Did you understand the meaning of these words? Do you know the meaning? or not?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so with those words in mind, please, we're going to listen, okay? Let's listen.
Now listen to part of the talk in an astronomy class. Okay, so I'm sure you
Guys, can you hear?
Yes, 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 teacher.
Okay, thank you. Now, if you have any problem, anything that may happen to you, I don't know, the internet connection, the sound, the echo, whatever, please let me know so that I can stop playing the recording and try to fix the problem. Okay, guys? Now, let's start. Have at hand and ready your piece of paper and pen to take notes. Remember that.
now listen to part of the talk in an astronomy class. Okay, so I'm sure you all know what meteors are, right? Those bright shooting stars in the sky that sometimes pass through the atmosphere and land here on Earth as hot rocks. Well, these alien rocks go on quite a journey to make it here. You see, these meteors start off as comets from other areas in space. The ice in these comets melt when they get close to the sun, which breaks apart and sprays millions of tons of rock and dust into the solar system. As each of the larger dust and rock particles enters the Earth's atmosphere, it creates a brief fiery trail that is often called a shooting star, but is properly known as a meteor. Since the particles move at speeds of many kilometers per second, friction with the air vaporizes them at an altitude of between 80 and 130 kilometers. The resulting flash of light fade out within a few seconds. To be visible, these shooting stars, or meteors, must be within about 200 kilometers of the observer. On a typical dark and moonless night, you can see up to 6 meteors per hour, maybe more. Now, I don't know about you, but witnessing a shooting star is really a magical feeling. Anyway, the typical meteor is produced by a particle with the mass of less than 1 gram, no larger than a pea. How can we see such a small particle? The light you see comes from the much larger region of heated, glowing gas surrounding this little grain of material. Because of its high speed, the energy in a pea-sized meteor is greater than a bullet being fired by a gun on Earth. But as I'm sure you all know, these shooting stars, these meteors, sometimes land on the ground. Meteorites are pretty much found in 2 ways. First, are meteorite falls. Sometimes fireballs are observed to penetrate the atmosphere and find their way to the surface. The 2013 Chelyabinsk fire.
¿Y este lunes o Jeps? No. Sí. Sí.
¿A qué hora van a acabar? Pero no saben pues a qué hora va a acabar. Después de eso pueden venir.
Sí, sí, después de eso pueden venir.
Sí.
Me avisan, ¿ya? ¿Qué hora es? ¿Listo?
Otra cosita. Para
Please, Mario, can you turn off your microphone? Thank you. I think that we had some problems there, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna replay the recording, okay, so that you can understand. Please,
Thanks.
whenever we are listening to a recording, turn your microphones off, okay? Please. Let's start again.
Now listen to part of the talk in an astronomy class. Okay, so I'm sure you all know what meteors are, right? Those bright shooting stars in the sky that sometimes pass through the atmosphere and land here on Earth as hot rocks. Well, these alien rocks go on quite a journey to make it here. You see, these meteors start off as comets from other areas in space. The ice in these comets melt when they get close to the sun, which breaks apart and sprays millions of tons of rock and dust into the solar system. As each of the larger dust and rock particles enters the Earth's atmosphere, it creates a brief, fiery trail that is often called a shooting star, but is properly known as a meteor. Since the particles move at speeds of many kilometers per second, friction with the air vaporizes them at an altitude of between 80 and 130 kilometers. The resulting flash of light fade out within a few seconds. To be visible, these shooting stars, or meteors, must be within about 200 kilometers of the observer. On a typical dark and moonless night, you can see up to 6 meteors per hour, maybe more. Now, I don't know about you, but witnessing a shooting star is really a magical feeling. Anyway, the typical meteor is produced by a particle with the mass of less than 1 gram, no larger than a pea. How can we see such a small particle? The light you see comes from the much larger region of heated, glowing gas surrounding this little grain of material. Because of its high speed, the energy in a pea-sized meteor is greater than a bullet being fired by a gun on Earth. But as I'm sure you all know, these shooting stars, these meteors, sometimes land on the ground. Meteorites are pretty much found in 2 ways. First are meteorite falls. Sometimes bright meteors or fireballs are observed to penetrate the atmosphere and find their way to the Earth's surface. The 2013 Chelyabinsk fireball in Russia produced tens of thousands of small meteorites, many of them easy to find because these dark stones fell on snow. People sometimes discover unusual looking rocks that turn out to be meteoric. These rocks are termed meteorite finds, the second way meteors are found. Since the 1980s, meteorite finds in the Antarctic have dramatically increased our knowledge of space and its materials. More than 10,000 meteorites have been recovered from the Antarctic as a result of the motion of the ice in some parts of that continent. Meteorites that fall in regions where ice accumulates are buried and then carried slowly to other areas where the ice is gradually worn away. After thousands of years, the rock again finds itself on the surface, along with other meteorites carried to these same locations. The meteorites in our collections have a wide range of compositions and histories, but traditionally, they have been placed into 3 broad classes. First are the irons, composed of nearly pure metallic nickel iron. The second are the stones, the term used for any rocky meteorite. The third are the rarer stony irons, made, as the name implies, of mixtures of stone and metallic iron. Of these 3 types, the irons and stony irons are the most obviously extraterrestrial because of their metallic content. Pure iron almost never occurs naturally on Earth. Therefore, if you ever come across a chunk of metallic iron, it is sure to be either man-made or a meteorite. The stones are much more common than the irons, but more difficult to recognize. Often, laboratory analysis is required to demonstrate that a particular sample is really of extraterrestrial origin, especially if it has lain on the ground for some time and been subject to weathering. The most scientifically valuable stones are those collected immediately after they fall, or the Antarctic samples preserved in a nearly perfect state by the ice.
Okay, guys, it was a little bit long, but I hope everybody understood, okay? Now, we're going to see the questions, guys. Get ready. Okay, here in this section, we can see 3 questions, okay? I'm gonna give you 4 minutes for answering these 3 questions, okay? And then we will move on to question number 4. Before we start, is there any question, any doubt, something that you need to tell me? Please, now is your time. Anything? Any doubt, any problem, any question? Okay, I will assume that there are no questions, so we're going to start. Please, 4 minutes from now on. You can start, please. Okay, guys, time's up. Let's move on to question number 4, okay? Let's go to question number 4 then. Please, I'm gonna read it for you, okay? What is the professor implying when he says this? Let's listen. Listen carefully, please.
Of these three types, the irons and stony irons are the most obviously extraterrestrial because of their metallic content.
Okay, now, please answer. Okay, guys, time's up. Let's move on to the final 2 questions, okay? There you are. Here in question number 5, please, you just have to cross or tick, okay? You do not have to write anything. If stones are easy to spot as meteorites when found on Earth, click it. If not, leave it in blank. Okay, guys? That's the only thing you have to do in this question. Let's move on. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes, okay? Let's start. Okay, guys, time's up. Tell me, guys, your experience. Were you able to finish? Could you answer all the questions or not? Tell me. Okay, what about the rest? Guys, I am asking you.
Teacher, sorry, but I can respond every questions because my internet is too slow. I am with my internet of my cell phone, but I couldn't read the 4, the 3, the 3, 4. This is
Okay, you couldn't answer questions number 3 and 4.
yeah.
Okay, do not worry, okay? Okay, guys, now it is time to see the answers, okay? Have at hand your answers and please send them all into messages, okay? In one message, please put the answers for exercise number 3. And in another message, please put the answers for task number 4, okay? For the listening number 4. Send them to the chat box of Zoom, okay? I'm gonna give you 1 minute to do that, okay? 2 messages with 5 questions each. You can go on, please. 1 minute. Okay? Please send your answers, okay? Now we're going to check the answers. I'm gonna ask some people to participate with me and to read, okay? So that we can understand why the option was the appropriate for that answer, okay, guys? So let's go. Please. Genaro, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please, can you help me reading question number 1?
Okay. What's the lecture mainly about?
Okay.
A, how to farm. Just the question or the answers too?
All the options, please.
Okay. A, how to farm unoccupied land. B, the cost involved in starting up a farm. C, the results of a Homestead Act in early 17th century. Or D, why the railroad was built to go inland from East Coast.
Okay, now please, we're going to see the fragment, okay? Now, what was the answer? Please tell me, what was your answer to that question? Genaro, are you there?
I'm sorry, teacher.
What was your answer to that question?
I didn't listen. I arrived late.
Okay. Now, can anybody tell me what was the answer for that question, or what option did you choose? Okay, I'm gonna see. Okay, according to Ruben, question number 1 was letter B. Nice. Why? Ruben, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Please, can you read the explanation?
Okay. We can eliminate because pros indicate something positive, whereas the professor does not mention anything positive about climate change. We can eliminate C as well because the professor does not discuss how to prevent climate change. And we can eliminate D because it is just relevant to a small portion of the lecture.
Okay, so the answer for this question was letter B. Okay, guys, be careful with that. Letter B. What was the lecture about? The costs involved in starting up a farm. Okay, so that was the main topic. No, really sorry. This was not the answer. Really sorry. Where is it? Okay, this is passage number 6. Here it is. There, yes, here it is. What was the professor mainly discussing? The causes and effects of climate change. Okay, guys? So be careful with the main idea. You were supposed to find a main idea in this question. Okay, guys? Now, let's move on to question number 3. Oh, about question number 2, I will be sending you this chart, okay? So that you can check. Let's go to number 3. Please, Mariana, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Can you read the question and the possible answers?
Okay, 3, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. What is the difference between weather and climate? Select 2. A. What weather refers...
Really sorry. Okay, there it is.
Okay. Weather refers to conditions in the atmosphere over a long period of time. B. Climate refers to the forecast over a 48-hour period. C. Weather is more concerned with a daily or hourly predictions. D. Climate refers to predictable long-term atmospheric conditions.
Okay, what answer did you choose, Mariana?
For me, it's C.
You were able to answer 2 options, so?
Yeah, sorry, I C and B.
Okay, C and B. What about the rest?
I choose A and D.
Okay, A and D. Thank you. What about the rest? Guys, tell me.
B and C, teacher.
B and C, okay. Now, let's see the answer, okay? Mariana, please be ready to read. Okay, letter C and D was the appropriate answer for this question, okay? Let's see why. Please, Mariana, can you read the explanation?
Yeah. 3. C, D. This question forces you to rely on your memory of what the professor says. Although you might be able to guess that the climate definitely has to do with more long-term changes than weather does. The professor explains the difference near the beginning of the lecture when he says, climate refers to the long-term predictable atmospheric conditions of a specific area, not the conditions of a day or even a week for that matter. Weather refers to the conditions of the atmosphere during a short period of time. Weather forecasts are usually made in 48-hour cycles and are more concerned with a daily and hourly predictions.
So, considering what the professor said, answers C and D were the most or the best for this question. Okay, guys? Now, let's move on to number 4, please. Christian, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Please, can you help me reading? Question
Yes.
number 4.
Yes. According to the lecture, what is an example of the effects of climate changes. A, polar bears have taken over all the glaciers. B, insects don't know when they pollinate flowers. C, a large amount of flowers are blooming sooner than usual. And D, many animals are searching for new homes.
Okay, what option did you choose?
C, teacher.
A large amount of flowers are blooming sooner than usual. Okay, let's see. What was the answer for this question? Yes, you were right. Letter C was the appropriate one. Can you read the explanation?
Yes, of course. A and B might seem correct, but they are actually incorrect pieces of information that use words you heard in the lecture to try and confuse you. C is correct because the professor says, for example, researchers have shown that 385 plant species in England are flowering 5 days sooner than usual.
Okay, so be careful. The options will try to confuse you, okay? By using words that you may have heard in the recording, okay? So be careful with that. That's why your notes are really important, okay, guys? Now, let's move on to the last question. And after that, I'm going to send the answer key for the following exercise, okay? Please, Mario, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Please, can you help me reading question number 5?
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay. What's the...
This one, this one.
Okay. What's the professor implying when she says this? She would rather have Jessica teach the class. She thinks Jessica knows more than she does. She's emphasizing that Jessica knows a lot of information. She's annoyed that Jessica knows the answer and he doesn't.
Okay, let's listen to the fragment, okay?
Perfect, Jessica. Maybe I should have you teach the class.
Okay, now let's see the explanation. What option did you choose, Mario?
Option A.
She would rather have Jessica teach the class. Okay, let's see the answer now. Okay, this is inference, okay? You were supposed to infer. Please, Mario, can you read?
Number 5, we can
Yes.
we can eliminate A and D almost immediately because these situations just are not likely to happen. And D, is it a bit too negative to reflect North American teaching values? B is also unlikely to be the case, as professors in universities are normally very knowledgeable and have extensive experience on their field. C is correct because Jessica just spoke and said lots of correct information. So the professor is making a joke to emphasize that Jessica just accurately gave the class good information.
So C was the appropriate answer to these questions. Okay, guys? Okay, guys, let me ask you this before we finish. Would you like me to send you a couple of exercises, extra exercises for you to practice a little bit more with this listening section of the TOEFL test? Because I can send you this link. In this link, you will find everything that you need to know about it. Some exercises, 6 in total, their answer keys, and explanations. Would you like me to send you this link?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm going to send you to the WhatsApp group, okay, guys? So that you can practice and read. This document contains a lot of information that can be useful for you at the moment of taking the test, okay? So I would suggest you use it to your advantage, okay? To get the best score possible in the listening section, okay, guys?
Okay,
And
thanks.
my last suggestion, please control your time, okay? Time is really important to do this kind of tasks and work on your notes. This is really important as well. Okay, guys, before we leave, as always, we really appreciate you complete this daily survey, and after that, you can leave. Thanks for attending. See you next class, okay? Have a nice weekend.
Thanks, teacher. Goodbye.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Goodbye, teacher.
Bye-bye.
Bye, teacher. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Teacher, you told me to remind you that I arrived late for the
Okay,
assistant.
do not worry. I'm gonna check your attendance. Do not worry about it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, teacher. Thanks.
Bye-bye, thank you.